Okay, Rosemary, all yours.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
We are here today to tape Lea Naft's story from the Holocaust. Interview Rosemary Arnold. Lea, you want to tell us something about your life before the war? Where did you live?
We lived in Czechoslovakia, and it's a small town.
Yeah.
It was like divided really like a big town to three parts. And so I remember one thing that, we are raised like, not in a big town. It was a small place. We didn't finish the schooling because we couldn't. And we was about six kids in the family.
Yeah.
And
All
we were
girls?
2 boys and 4 girls. And the only thing what I can remember is, like in 1939, up till then, we didn't experience nothing in particular that would have been against us.
Yeah.
Or something. Well, then, when in 39, the Czechs had to pull out because the Hungarian people took it over, which was run by the Germans. Now, then, when the trouble started in 39, everybody, the Jewish people was uncomfortable. And we used to have, it's a lot of, it's not the Germans, it used to be, it's called Ukrainians.
The Ukrainians.
Yeah, and then when they started, they probably already knew what was going on in the world. See, we didn't. And they start to be in school when we went, they start, call us names and things like that. And but we didn't pay attention to it, and there was not too many Jewish people living there in the first place. So we had just to keep it ourselves. And after that...
Well, when did things change?
In 1939.
And how?
So, as I said, that we noticed that the people that live, the neighbors live around us, they was different through us. And, start to call names, still, small kids, and start to call names. And told us, I remember one little boy coming and was going tense like in a circle. And he started like, it's not Russian language, it's a Ukrainian language. They used to say, Žid, Žid, Chod za nim bežid. That means, Jew, Jew, the devil is after you. And where you have to go is go back to Egypt, that they would send that to Egypt. And this, what, started off the trouble in that time. And my father was a really, religious man. He had a big beard. He couldn't start to go out no more. And that continued till 41, when the program really started in that time. When they come in, they ordered us that we have to get together and get for 5 days, like clothes and food.
Yeah.
They took us to a small town and it was a big room, which I don't know if in that small town we just had like 50 Jewish people living in one, and then by 100 in the other one, and there was 3 towns combined together. So they bring us all together. But we didn't know what was going on. We knew we was like under arrest, and that was like a ghetto. But I remember my mother was in my father. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We didn't know what was going to happen, but my mother was not too well. So we had a neighbor who was living further up. He was Christian, he was not a Jew. So he promised us he's going to keep him there. So we went, the girls, and the rest of the family went. Now my grandmother, they're 95 years old, they let her stay in that time in the house. But my mother and my father was in hiding in that time. So, but they kept us in that place for 5 or 6 days, something like that. And they told us, see, they picked some people, and we didn't know what was going on. And they told us, they let us go, but they escorted us with the police to the house. And they told us we cannot leave from the house under no reason. We cannot move from the house, freely.
You mean like house arrest?
House arrest, yes, ma'am. And they put a big star, Jewish star, on the house. And that's what it. But the people that they took, we didn't know. We saw the people going, we saw the people carrying they was going on horse and buggy, they put them on. But in that time, they took my sister, but she wasn't living the same place where we was. She was married. She had 4 kids. They took her in 1941 with the four boys. And they took her to, it's called Galicia. They took her, and then they took another sister, 2 of them, because they wasn't living in the same place. So we didn't know where they took them. We didn't know what was going. We still was numb. See, we didn't have nothing to read. We didn't have no papers, nothing. We didn't know what was going on. But we was on that house arrest. We suffered from 41 till 43. And what happened that time, we couldn't go out. We couldn't buy nothing. Whatever we plant in the back of our house was a little like a backyard. We used to plant the vegetables and everything and prepare for the winter. But see, if you watch yourself not to go out, nobody was coming into the house to do something to you. But I remember one thing, in the same time was not far from us, a couple houses further up, it was a rabbi. And that rabbi used to make, kill the, how the Jewish law is, you have to go through a shochet to get the meat. So they told them once that you cannot use it as a special knife that he used to use for that. And they find out that he was providing the meat for us. I mean, not just for us, for the rest of the...
Making meat kosher.
Yeah, meat kosher. So one morning, that was on a Thursday morning, I never forget it. We had a knock in the window, and we had kids. And they had 5 kids. So one of the girls come to the window, start to cry and call my mother's name. She says, "Golda, Golda, let us in." So Mama went, opened the door, and they started to cry. She said, "They killed my daddy. They killed my daddy." And we asked her what. See, we didn't know what was going on. So she told us who come in, the police come in, and they hurt them. So we couldn't go right then, but we waited for a while, and we saw nobody around there, so we then went down there. And he was laying a pool of blood. The blood was scattered all over the house. Remember, Mama was sick. She couldn't get a doctor. She couldn't get a doctor even. So that was going up to 43. They come to the house and they give us a paper, and they told us that we have to get ready like tomorrow morning. get yourself together for 5 days, food, and nothing else to take. Everything has to be left behind. So then they took us to a place where they called a ghetto that was in Sokenitsa. I don't know what's the name, you know, in English. So we come to over there, but over there, well, before we went down there, they took together. See, they didn't have no cars, no trucks. So some people could have gone on the horse and buggy. And you know, but most of them was walking. They was crying. They couldn't walk. It was a long way to go. But if you didn't want to get killed, you had to make it. You had to make it. So it took us about 3 days to get to that place. And we still didn't know what was going on. We was kept in the dark, and it was no television, it was no radio. Everything was taken. So you couldn't listen, you couldn't say, it just, you was living like in a cave, really. You couldn't know what was going on. So they bring us over there, and they kept us in that place for 6 or 7 weeks. And I was people, one of them, because the whole section from where we was living, everybody was taken together and bring them over there. Then when we was there, we already knew where they are taking us, but we never knew that they're going to kill. See, that what was waiting. Like my mother said, oh, we going to work. We going to exist, you know, we used to work. We going to make a living, but we didn't know what was waiting on us. But in that time, you know, we noticed my grandmother. She was 95 years old, so we was happy that didn't touch her. But 2 days later, they bring her too. They didn't let nothing behind. And after those 6 weeks, little by little, they started taking out all of us together to take us to the big city, and from there they took some trains. That was the train where they're loading up people, about 70, 75, you know, all in one train. I mean, not, it was the cattle trains.
Yeah, cattle cars.
Yeah, cattle cars, whatever they call them. So from there, they told us we're going on the train, but they never told us where they take it. See, we didn't know that Auschwitz existed or something like that. So what they took, and they put us all together in that train. I don't know how many people went at the same time when we went, but I know it was a long, long train. It was filled up with people. So I guess whatever Jew was left over there from 41, they took them all together. So the train was going, I don't know, day and night. I don't know for how many nights. Can't remember exactly. So from there, they took us to Auschwitz. And I remember on the border where the Germans took us over, you know, from the Hungarian police. So then we knew that something is wrong, that we're going to the end. And we didn't know still. I remember my mother used to say, no crying, you all going to be all right. We're going to get there, and we're going to, you know, have work and do things. We didn't know what was going on. So, but in the meantime, let me go back for a minute. Yeah, I was talking about my sisters. One sister, I remember we still was home. When they took her away, she didn't have no children. Her husband was the partisans, you know, on the ground, and they didn't have no chance to take him. So what she did, back somehow, I don't know, she had money probably, and paid somebody to take her across from the border from Poland through the mountains. And somehow she made it home. And she was keeping locked up for 41 to 43. And we knew that she was living, but we never could go see her because we couldn't get out. But the other sister met her husband and the kids. They never come back. And the same thing happened to my brother. See, what he was like it was not military, it was like a Munkersazot, I don't know how they call it. It's a...
Like National Guard here?
Yeah, something like that. But then they took him, the Germans took him over from there. And they went to his house and took his wife with the 3 kids, 3 boys. So they took them to Auschwitz. And, you know, that was the end of that too. And that, as far as my sister, we didn't know nothing about the kids, we didn't know nothing about her till after we was liberated. But going back now to Auschwitz, when we got there, the train stopped. They kept us, I don't know, it was a night or 2 nights. They kept us locked up. It was awful in that train because, excuse me for the, you see, they had to do everything inside. Couldn't go out, people got sick, it was awful. Kids was crying, and it was just terrible. It was terrible, we thought we never make it. We thought we never make it, but we made it to the end, you know, somehow. So after the 3 nights, they kept us locked up. I guess they was filled up or something, they couldn't let us down. So coming down from the train, I saw people in striped uniforms. And, you know, it was, some people was on one side and some it was men. So they started to take down the people from the train. And then I saw that that's it. God, I never forget.
Were you being sorted out then?
We went down and then they took the older people, see on one side, and the younger on the other side. So I remember I was run after. I was run after my mother. So one of the people that was staying there took us down. He gave me a big slam in my face. And he said to me, you better not run over there. And I didn't know what he meant by it, but I guess he saved my life, because if I would have run after him, I could never have made it. So they divided us, and right then, they took us on one side, the train left, so we saw where they took the older, you know, the most of the older people separate. They put them in a wired place where it was wired up. They all was staying there. It was awful. And they took us to the place. We didn't know where we was going, but they took us in a steam bed, called it. I don't know what it was. It was probably the crematorium on the other side. So we started getting there. I mean, we didn't have nothing corners. They took everything. We come in there. So they start, first of all, they shaved us, took all the clothes off, shaved us from top to the bottom. And they put us in that sweat boat, you know, the sweat bed. It was made like steps, you know. And that place was packed with women. I never saw something.
Oh, was that a barrack?
No, that was where they took us, you know, apart. You know, they put 2 lines after you got through it. And that was, one was going one side, the other was going the other side. Who was lucky went to the right, the unlucky went to the left. But we didn't know what they're going to do with that. We thought they just clean us, but some people couldn't take it. It was so hot, it was so steamy that they just fainted and fall down. And the other ones, they started to take them out, so they make 2 places. And it was doctors over there, the Germans. And they picked. They showed me the finger, you go there, you go there.
Yeah.
And we didn't know, my sister was with me, and we tried to stay together the whole time.
Let's pause for a minute. You're doing good. You're doing fine. You're ready to go back, okay.
Okay, then when they took us, they started to pick us.
Yeah.
I guess they took the healthier ones, and the ones, they probably just pushed them straight to the crematorium, because it was right there where the steam bed was.
Yeah.
It was on the left side. I remember the doors, and I remember everything. So after that, they gave us, after we got through, after they picked most of the people, so they gave us striped clothes to put on. We started to go back. Then they started to take us to the barracks. But while we was going to the barracks, I still saw my parents in that place, but they didn't recognize us. We were shaved, they just couldn't recognize. Even when we, waved to them, they didn't know who was waving to. But that night, they put us in a barrack, and they had like bunk beds. We was about 11 kids, 11 girls, one bunk. So I remember like today, I dreamed the same night how they pushed my father down. I could swear that the same night that they killed him, because I felt that in a new mother. But it was terrible in there. The kid, we used to get up early in the morning, it was 6 o'clock. It was still used to be dark, and we had to line up. They had to call up. We had the numbers shown on the...
Yeah, did you get a tattoo?
No. See, we was the last ones that there was...
Oh,
so
it was too
we
far
had them.
at the end.
We had on the dresses.
Yeah.
They put on the number. But I remember, some kids used to... Some of them was 12, some of them 14. They used to get sick. They took them away. They never come back. I remember one night, one of the girls got so sick, a toothache, just a plain toothache. So somebody came, and we didn't know. See, we didn't know what was going to happen to her, and we called somebody to, to help her. They took her out. They never bring her back. So that was going on for 7 weeks. We was staying there. After the 7 weeks...
Did you have to do any work?
Not in Auschwitz. No, not in Auschwitz. We just had to, we stayed in the room, and they took us in. The only time we was outside is when we had to go, in the morning for,
count, verbally for the count.
That's right, for the count. But after the 7 weeks, they took us to Stutthof. That was another camp. And when we got to Stutthof, while we was going on they put us on trucks. While we was going on the trucks, we saw soldiers, but they was in black uniform. We was driving through mountains. And we didn't know where we going that time either. So that was another camp where they took us.
Yeah.
It was a new camp because you could see the sand. You could stand on the sand and feel that you were sinking in the sand. Then we stayed over there for 3 weeks too, the same thing, just like camels put together. And some again got sick, and some couldn't take it. Some of them, they took them back, and that was the end of it. And from there, after the 3 weeks again, they had us orders. So they picked again two different categories, and we didn't know what was going on either, what they going to do. because they never told us that we go work. So when they picked us, one of the soldiers said to me and to my sister, he said, you know where you all going, it's going to be very hot. You think you'll be able to make it? Like this. And we said yes, but we was holding on so stiff to the hands that it wouldn't tear us apart. But they didn't. So from there they picked by 800 women that time. I don't know how many was left, but plenty of them. And they took us to a place called Prost that was about 10 kilometers from Danzig. And over there where the work started. And what we started off to do is plane from the top to the bottom to start airfield, you know, landing field, yeah. And we used to dig, you know, they had those little, but you put the
dirt in wheelbarrow.
Yeah, no, it was not wheelbarrow. It was like a little train going, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And
I can't think of the word either.
Yeah, we used to be about, let's see, 3 people to one of those. And a certain time you had to fill it out. You had to shovel it. And from there, after the shovel, we had to come back and fix the cement. So we was doing a really bad hard labor. And I remember I had my hand was blistered up. I used to take paper, you know, from the cement paper and cover it up so we could continue, because we knew if somebody gets sick and goes out of there, never come back. That's it. So we did that, and then we did they put in the cable under the, you know, cable.
Yeah.
And we had to dig those trenches for the cable. That was awful. We had to dig, I don't know, I remember we used to go into it, hardly you could see us out, and it was winter. In the winter you couldn't dig because it was frozen.
Yeah.
So we used to tell each other that we're not going to do nothing, we get frozen. So we used to take that, I don't know what you call it, you know, what you dig with it. It was not a shovel, it was...
no, it was like a sledgehammer.
No, it was no, it was not a
pick.
A pick, yeah, a pick. I remember we used to dig it with a pick in the dirt used to knock back the pig because it was so frozen that, but we had to do it, if not we would have been frozen. I remember we had on some kind of coat and no water with the wooden shoes we used to go. So what we used to do, we used to take the cement bags and cut out the papers and put it on us so the wind wouldn't go through us. But when we went back to the camp, we couldn't wear it. So we had to take it right then off. And after we got through with that, then they took us to the railroad to work. I remember we used to carry the railroad,
the ties?
No, not the ties, the railroad tracks on our shoulders. You could take the hand and put it in the shoulder. That's how deep the cut used to be in it. And you know, they tried to do the hardest thing, and most of the people could make it. They took them away, they never come back. Who was stronger, who tried, you know, to see to it that you make it, you did it. And after that, we used to come they used to take us in the morning. We was divided to 50 girls, the group. And everybody has somebody, you know, take care of them. So we used to go in the morning and come back in the afternoon. And as far as the food we used to have in the morning before we went, it used to be just like water, you know. You used to see little pieces like meat floating around, but see, that meat was pork. And we knew that pork we couldn't eat. So what we do, what did we think? We just had to have it. We pushed away the pork, but we used the soup, but it was the same thing. Then, when they used to put us in the line to go for it, if somebody stepped out, I remember one of the girls stepped out of the line, so they took her and put her in the middle and made a circle out of us. And that Hope lady that was the couple, what they call it, I don't know. So she took a switch, a rubber switch, and she gave her 25 lashes. And after that, she for down, they renewed her with water. And they continued. So we knew already we cannot step out of the line. So over there, in that time, we was working, we did whatever we could to see to it that we not get hurt, we not get, do something to us bad. But something else what they did with us, when we come to Auschwitz, I go back to that, they put something in the food that we wouldn't menstruate. And some people got really sick, terrible. 2 girls got so sick that they lost their mind and they took them away. But what happened to me, one morning I got up, it was bunk beds. I got up and while it was going down, I have even now, see here that?
Yeah.
I had a growth over there and opened and the blood just started to stream out like water. So we didn't know what we do, we tried to help each other, the girls over there. So one of the girls said, look, if you're going to go to the doctor, you never come back. So somehow we had something, somebody had something put on it and put like a little, so nobody can see it while I was going on, but the dress was long enough, it was covered up. So, but when we come to work, so one of the men that was, we didn't see no men around there, but the person that was taking hauling away that cement, he saw me what I had thrown with the feet. So when we went to pick up the shovels, I find bandages he was a Polak, bandages onto that shovel, and I find a long sack onto the shovel. So we put the girls was hide me so nobody can see me. So I went under a bush and put that bandage on the foot, put on that sack. But I couldn't go with that into the camp. So we took it back out and I left it for next day. And that's what helped me with mine. Otherwise I probably would have lost my life too. But it was going on with that work, whoever could make it. Not, they took them out and that's about it. But from there, where the trouble started, is by the end of when the war was closing in. And one morning, they come in and they told us to get up. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. And they said, we didn't have nothing to take with us. So we start to walk from that camp. They emptied that camp completely.
When was that, do you know?
That was in 40, I know it was 44. They was driving us about 3 weeks. It was still winter, it was snow. Yeah, it was snow. So most had been in January or February, one of those.
44.
44, January, February. So we didn't know where we going at that time. But what happened, they knew we could hear, that they fighting someplace, but we couldn't see nothing.
Yeah.
So from there we started go and we saw other camps too, but our group was, I remember the man that was running that camp, he was a fat guy, and they was pushing us, they say we have to go, And it was going on like 3 weeks. So what happened, they took us to a barn, big, huge barn. Can you imagine, they put us together, 800 women in that barn. But it was no name, it was just a free land. It was no city, it was no town, it was nothing over there. And they kept us over there after those 3 weeks. 4 weeks in that barn. And what happened? We started to get sick. They kept us locked up, you know, in there. We started to get sick. We started to get lice. God, I'll never forget it. The people got so with lice all over that they didn't know what to do. And people got really sick. They couldn't move. But they had water the side of the house, so one of the soldiers come in. They say, if you want to get out and get cleaned out, it's a water in the bag, but it was frozen. See, it was not true that you could put it. So what we did, we just grabbed the lice and took our dress and dipped it in that frozen water, and that what helped a lot of people. But but after that, one morning they come in, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. After 4 weeks yesterday, they start slow, you know, to get up. And we saw people line up, but when we was walking, we didn't see all the people that was in there. And after that, we was going about 5 days. So we come to a place that was close where the last stop was. And I remember one of the soldiers come and said to some of the girls, said, I know you all are hungry. You all want to eat? I have some work for you all. So about 15 of us volunteered. So me, my sister, and other ones, they took us on, but we didn't know what kind of work it was. They took us on the horse and buggy, and they turned us back where we come from. We was going at the driving, and we saw on the streets people laying killed. And we had to pick up those people and put them on the horse and buggy and take them. We was going back where we come from, you know, from that, what you call it,
from the airfield?
No. That was already when we went out of there.
Oh.
The barn. So when we come to the barn, we saw people over there. God, that picture will never erase from my mind. We saw people over there, they was dead and they was still breathing. So the soldiers went in, they finished them up. So they made us to dig, to go in further up and dig between the trees, graves, massive graves. We put together, I don't know, about 300 or 400 people in those graves. So after we put about 15 in each grave, we covered them up, and then they took us back where we can. And what the food was, they let us get some horse meat. And, you know, we took the horse meat, and we was eating it, but we got really sick from it. I got so sick that when I was sitting down, you know, on the snow, blood just was running from my stool. Janie, what was the name that I said where the last? David, the where they took us by the Baltic Sea.
Haka?
No.
Putsk.
What? Putsk, yeah. On the map is different, but that's
Yeah.
it is. On the English map is different.
Ready.
Okay, after we got through with that, with the burying those
Yeah.
people, we went back to the place where we was supposed to go further. And from there, they start marches again. And some people still couldn't make it, but we tried. We was sick. We was sitting down on the snow for a while. We were getting up, and to me, it was almost the end. So we come to one place that they wouldn't let us through because people had lice. So they bring a big dish of water, and it was still freezing. So they make us to take off our clothes and dip it in that water because they had some kind of disinfect, you know. But I remember I even have a sign. I took that dress out and stick to mine hand. That's how frozen.
Yeah.
And we put that off and right on our body had to dry up. So they took us and they was marching us up to the Baltic Sea, which I'm sure this is what they was figuring is to throw us into the water. So when we got there, it was a camp where barracks where the German soldiers was, because when we got there, it still was warm, but there was no soldiers around. It was nothing around there. But that Hauptscharführer, the guy that was around that camp, he still didn't want to give up and let us go. Most of the couples, those Germans, some of them ran away. They didn't stay.
Was this in 45?
In 45, yeah, that was already in 45. So it was in 45 in March.
Yeah. You got liberated, or?
No, we got liberated after that. See, that was in March when we got to that barracks.
Yeah.
And we was staying there for a week or two, but we could hear how the fight. You couldn't see the fire, but you could hear it.
Yeah.
So I remember it was a lady over there. She had 3 daughters with her. She was, I don't know, she was maybe 55 years, but the reason she was between us because she was very healthy and she didn't look like she is 55 years old. So I remember some people, we were sitting outside. She said, we cannot sit in the barracks because they will throw bombs or something on the barracks. But there was, over there, they kept pigs, little houses where they keep pigs. So she said to us, instead staying in the barracks, let's go a couple of us in each of the, because from the 800, we probably was over there by the last 250.
Yeah.
And that's by the what was left. The other ones was killed. So after the next morning we was sitting, it was straw. The ground was very cold, so it was straw. That was already in Putsk. That was right at the Baltic Sea.
Yeah.
Where it was. So we were sitting there. Some of the people bring food to the gate. So that woman that I'm saying, a friend of ours, she got up and she said, no, we don't want your food. But she turned around to us and said to us, I never forget, she said, I tell you what we all going to do. We all go make Tisha B'Av today, because she knew that probably we're going to be thrown into the sea. So Tisha B'Av, it means it's a
fast day.
A fast day. So we was fasting. We didn't fast enough, so we was fasting completely that day. So next morning, she said to me, she called me in my name, she says, Lea, you all try to take a sleep. God is with us, and we go make it. We make it so far. We go make it.
And you did.
But next day we heard, some girls hollering, hollering. Oh, I remember 3 of them got crazy and they just couldn't take it when the Russian came in, with all the stuff. So we was liberated, which, we was lucky. If it would have been maybe a day or 2 more, he would have been all dead. And after that, people just, was liberated, got sick. I was very weak. I couldn't walk. We went into the house. And I was staying in that house for two weeks. I thought I'm going to die too. But, my sister helped me through the trouble. Then I had another girl, a friend of mine. She was a cousin too. And I gave her my food, so she helped me to help me out to continue to walk.
Yeah.
Because once you sit down, you got the bullet in you. But after we was liberated, some of those, everybody was hungry. Whatever they saw, they wanted to eat. And they ate all kind of stuff, that they wasn't supposed to. And they got very sick. They got typhus. The hospitals was filled up. And from there, we ran away because we thought that we go in there.
Yeah.
And, we don't make it out.
Did you go back to your hometown?
Halfway. See, I knew we lost everything. We didn't want to see even the place.
Yeah.
We went halfway, we turned around, and me and my sister, and we said, we heard my brother was living. And we knew that he is in Prague someplace or in Pilsen someplace. So we tried to go to look for him after he was liberated. But in the meantime, we went to Romania. And we wanted to go, we went to the train, and somebody told us, if you go, you'll be not able to get out because the Russian took it over. So we didn't go, but we knew he was living. And then somebody we knew that was there where my sister, the one with the 4 boys, was. She told us, she witnessed, she saw that they turned, she was in a little hay, where they kept hay for the cows.
Yeah.
So they turned that on fire. They killed her with the kids. And they all died at the fire.
And where did you meet your husband?
In Romania.
In Romania?
Yeah. The reason why how we met him, we went over there. It was a Jewish, like a Jewish community center. And we went there for help. We didn't have nothing. So they gave us clothes, to put on and everything. And they told us, if we go back, we'll be not able to go. But they had, in Romania, they had kibbutz, that some of the people that went through the Holocaust, that trouble, that they getting ready to emigrate to Israel. So, but he was over there, that he was the, running that place. So, we was 3 girls, me, my sister, and then a friend of ours, and we decided we will go there. There was no other place to go. It wasn't home, it was nothing. We come over there, we stayed there for I don't know how long it was, but a year, 44, 3 months, 3 months. So they come and they told us, they make us false papers, So we had to walk again, suffer, and walk through the mountains. Didn't have nothing on us, nothing, false papers, and they told us we have to go to Italy, and from Italy, from there, once we're going to be in Italy, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
So we went from Romania, we went to Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia, we got married. We just thought, might as well, get married, and that's it. And from Yugoslavia, when we got married, what we had, my husband didn't have a suit. So somebody borrowed the suit to my brother-in-law, and after him, he borrowed that suit. And somebody borrowed a ring, for us to get married. And when we got back, we had a piece of cheese and sitting on a concrete floor. But at least we was alive, we was happy, whatever we had, we was satisfied, that's it. We was hoping for better. So from there we come to Italy. Now in Italy, we was in a displaced person camp. We was staying over there for 4 years. So we was still thinking to go to Israel, but then I remember that I had an uncle in Ohio. So we went into the Jewish over there to the people, and they find them out, and we wrote them a letter. So they said to us that they're going to try to get us out. So they sent the papers, and that's how we come to New York. But it was not a picnic, you know, coming here either. But we was lucky that we went in here. And let me tell you something, it's a good land to be in, and we worked hard. If you want to make something out of you, you just try. If you have the opportunity to do it, you make it. If you have a will in yourself. And we didn't have to turn to welfare, we didn't have to turn to nobody. And as far as my uncle is concerned, he didn't help us with nothing. When we got here to Nashville, we had 2 people that co-signed for my husband $170 to be able to bring the little furniture that we had in Ohio. Because in Ohio he lost his job because it was in that time a coal strike. So they let him go. So he was lucky he had a job over here, but I kept borders. I tried to help my husband out. We tried to help each other. We bring in 4 kids into this world, and we tried to
get them. And they all turned out fine.
Fine. Very good school and everything.
Fine.
So we just, some of the lucky ones, that's it. But it's still,
are we lucky or are we just fighters?
So, first, I think it has to do one with the other. You couldn't fight without having luck.
True, true.
You couldn't fight. It just, but you know, we had somebody up there to look out for us.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think he was the only one that, it's like a lot of people say, oh, I don't believe in the religion. I said, where was God? I said, he was there. They tried to destroy the old Jewish race. They couldn't. And I don't think nobody ever will be able to do that.
No. We'll fight on. I know this wasn't easy for you, Leah, to talk about it.
So, I tell you, I took.
But doesn't it feel good now to, at least you're leaving this for your children and your grandchildren?
But as far as talking, some of my kids know, but I didn't go full of the details. And some of them couldn't take. Some of my, for instance, you take 2 of my boys. I don't think they could listen to it.
They may not be able to now. They may be at a later time.
I hope later on, maybe later on in life, maybe they will. You know, but
well, we certainly appreciate your story.
So I was glad to say it. So it will go on, and people know what was going on. And because look, we're getting older. It's hard. 10 more years, 12, 15 more years, people will live to be able to tell it.
And it's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
Little pieces fit together to make the big picture.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking.
I was glad to do it. Feel better off my chest.
That's right.
I'm probably going to dream about it tonight.
Maybe not.
Oh, I dream a lot.
Yeah, I do too. But maybe you won't.
It's never goes away.
It's not forgotten, no. It
never
will never
goes
be
no
forgotten.
matter what you do, you turn around, you're still back where you was.
Yeah, but look what we have today, how grateful we can be.
I am. Look,
I know.
I went through plenty here too, and I'm still grateful.
Yeah.
Look, I'm still alive and kicking.
That's it. Exactly.
Still alive and kicking. And we appreciate you having me. I know you're tired. You almost fall asleep.
I am tired.